Hello people of YouTube, it's Deepak here, and welcome to the DCS news stream for the 10th of September 2022. I hope that you all enjoyed the very short bonus tutorial video on the F-16 a little bit earlier there, all about coordinate conversion. A very exciting topic, I'm sure you'll all agree. Just a few days ago as well, I did my video on the Bronco, which is a really cool community mod. So I hope that everybody enjoyed that. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Welcome Byron, welcome Paul, welcome Leo, welcome Milan, welcome Tog, Pink Floyd, hello, welcome Nico. Welcome to everybody. It's very good to have you all aboard. And yes, I guess without any further ado, I shall bring on board, as always, the one and only dotChuckles. Hello, sir.
Hello, sir. How are we doing?
Not too bad at all. Welcome. It's a slightly quieter DCS news week. However, there is still some excitement.
There's still some things. There's still some things. Quite a few. I think quite a few things.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Which we'll dive into in just a moment. Welcome Echo. Welcome Clint S. Welcome David Flute. Welcome Tondemont. Welcome everybody. It's so good to have you all aboard. So yeah, I guess I should start out, as I always do, with the Eagle Dynamics newsletter, because that's a pretty good source of stuff, what has happened and will happen. So yeah, dear fighter pilots, partners, and friends, we are delighted to introduce a new third-party developer, Crosstail Studios. This is lots of new people getting introduced these days. Who are developing the DCS A-1H. Now, I have to try and... Every time I see this, I want to say the AH-1. But no. Yeah. The A-1H.
1H, yeah.
The SPAD excelled in the US Navy, Marine Corps, Marine Corps and Air Force due to its immense payload and ability to loiter over the battlefield for extended periods. Yep. It also served with the British and French Air Forces. Take a look at this flying legend now. So yeah, this is the absolute precursor to the A-10, I would say. Like in Western militaries, you can draw it all the way back to here. I guess for Eastern stuff, you could look at the IL-2.
Or something like the Typhoon.
Yes.
And in a way, this aircraft to me feels a lot like a Typhoon. But it's funny that we were talking about this last week because we were talking about the Bronco.
Yes.
And then that got us talking about Vietnam, and I thought, were they using the P-51 right up until Vietnam? And then no, it was Korea, and that I was actually thinking of this aircraft, the Skyraider.
It's a chunky chap.
It's cool. Like like the guys that flew this aircraft, like
Clint S.'s father.
You're kidding? Wow, I've missed that. Wow. Okay.
Actually, sorry, I maybe misunderstood. He said this plane saved him and his team. So yeah, I guess he didn't fly it, but
okay,
he was supported by it.
Still very cool. Like the guys that flew this, how they managed to carry all that payload alongside the weight of their massive bollocks, I don't know, because it wasn't fast. In comparison to jets,
like a MiG-15.
Yeah, and they were doing multiple passes sometimes over targets with punishing ground fire. So, that's a special kind of person that flies that.
There's some nice renders here of the aircraft. Yeah. Very straight-winged. So clearly not fast.
Well, we got to remember that this was designed in, well, I mean, it entered service in 46. So we're talking about a design process that probably spanned, 1944, 1945. I mean, this kind of really sort of represents the pinnacle of ground attack aircraft of World War II towards the end of World War II. So, obviously we're going to see some quite, older design choices, but, it doesn't matter. It got the job done, and it got the job done for a long time. I mean, when did we say this was in service till? It was right up until
1973 in US service.
Yeah. So it'd been around for a while. And it's hanging a lot of stuff off those wings, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, I'm wondering, does anybody recognize what's on the outer pylons? There are 3 sets of something on the outermost pylons. They look like little tubes with triangular caps. I'm assuming they're rockets, but I've never seen rocket pods that look like that. So maybe someone more knowledgeable knows.
Yeah.
And thank you very much, Wave. He was thanking me for doing the OV-10 Bronco video. I'm very excited by that aircraft. Similar era to this one, in fact. I'm thinking about perhaps doing some tutorials on that one because I think it's a great aircraft. Really good community mod. Guns, says Nico. Oh no, rockets, says Clint S.
Yeah. I don't think those are guns. Yeah, because I'm not seeing seeing any kind of breech block or anything like that at the back. So bazooka rockets. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. So what we should do next is I should play the announcement video that Eagle Dynamics posted. Sadly, without audio. The audio is actually really cool in this one. Echo 19 getting a big shout out because they're doing the audio for this mod.
Oh, cool. Cool.
Which is good because they do great stuff. Here it is. Here's this absolutely beautiful thing.
Yeah. Now, it's interesting, there was some speculation because, we've got the Huey, the F4 is coming, the A7 is coming, we're potentially getting the A6, we've got the MiG-21. Yes, yeah, okay, we've got the MiG-21, all of these Vietnam-era aircraft, no Vietnam map.
No.
And there was some speculation that this might have been a tease for a new Vietnam map because people weren't recognizing where this was. Unfortunately, Big Newy came along and poured water all over it and said, no, it is Marianas. But I kind of want to know where in the Marianas it is because there's like some shots there where it's like, well, I can see quite a lot of, distance jungle to the horizon that is land. It's jungle. So like they must have found that one bit of Guam that's like, got some space to film this trailer in. So yeah, it is not it is not it's not a Vietnam tease. A6, Willem Dafoe AI voicer unsat. Absolutely. and when he ejects, he automatically calls in a Skyraider on his position to napalm
it. Bloody hell. Oh dear. Best idea Chuck ever had, says Clint.
Yeah. For those who are of a younger persuasion or don't know what we're talking about, go and track down the film Flight of the Intruder.
Yes.
Willem Dafoe's finest moment.
And he's had a few. Yeah, no, I haven't seen that film since I was a kid. I need to go and watch that again.
Yeah.
But yeah, Flight of the Intruder, really cool.
It's a kind of film that I call that I refer to as infra-bad, in that it's so bad it's gone right through the spectrum off the bottom and into being good again.
Oh dear. As Tog says, CBU-25 bomblets, early cluster bomb.
Okay.
That's very surprising. I would not have guessed that those were cluster munitions. Flight of the Intruder, greater than Top Gun, fight me, says Clint S. Top Gun's pretty great, but
Top
yeah, I need
Gun's
to go
pretty
back
great.
and watch that.
Yeah. Just let's not get into the Maverick conversation because I've upset a few people about that.
Do it, Sandy. I'd do it for you.
But this is like coming back on the topic.
Yes.
This is pretty cool. It is a niche aircraft. I'm gonna say that it is a niche aircraft, and it is further padding the stable of aircraft that we have that doesn't have, a kind of appropriate map for, or the map that they are clearly screaming out for is not a thing. Maybe it will be.
It's really like the only appropriate place to fly this really is the Marianas map. Like anywhere else that you fly this, and if you fly it with contemporary units as well, because if you're flying this and there are other people on your server flying F-18s, you're gonna have a bad day.
When the Skyraider comes out, it has to be jungle and napalm. I mean, that's just
you should be against flak cannons and machine guns and guys in MiG-15s. Otherwise, it's just not fair.
It's a super niche aircraft, but it's a pretty damn cool niche.
Yes.
And it is a cool aircraft in my book, and the people that flew them were ridiculously brave. Absolutely good stuff. Good stuff. Very, 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 very chuffed to see it.
Oh yeah, too. So to continue with the announcement, the A-1H Skyraider is a single-engine, low-wing attack aircraft that served most of its time during the Korean and Vietnam Wars. Known for its ability to carry heavy ordnance loads, the Skyraider is powered by a Wright R3350, a duplex Cyclone supercharged radial engine, the same engine that powered the B-29 Super Fortress heavy bomber. DCS A-1H Skyraider will aim to be the most accurate representation of this aircraft for any flight simulator. Crosstail Studios has our partnership with the Cavanaugh Flight Museum, from which they have been given access to all aircraft, which includes 2 airworthy Skyraiders. That's impressive. The Crosstail Studios team has spent an enormous amount of time recreating the A-1H Skyraider based on 3D scans from the aircraft located in the Cavanaugh Flight Museum. Subject matter experts have guided the flight model characteristics and other key details. Crosstail also has the support of the A1 Skyraider Association veterans community to aid in the development of this magnificent aircraft. The Skyraider was primarily used to support combat search and rescue, and it helped save countless lives during the Korea and Vietnam Wars. In a world quickly evolving into jet turbine-powered aircraft, the Skyraider still managed to have a long and successful service. In fact, the A-10 Warthog was designed with some of the characteristics of the Skyraider, including heavy ordnance load capabilities and long endurance. Crosstail Studios is also proud to announce their partnership with Echo 19er Audio Productions, who will produce the A-1H Skyraider audio. The Echo 19 team has extensive resources and a passion for recreating true-to-life audio experiences. With their help, the A-1H will come out of the box sounding fantastic. I'm absolutely certain of that, because Echo 19 stuff is very good.
Yeah, their stuff's very good. Yeah.
The Crosstail Studios team has put together a brief teaser video demonstrating the potential behind their new incoming full fidelity module for DCS. Check it out. We just did. Stay tuned for more Skyraider news at www.crosstailstudios.com.
Yeah, cool. Right, I'm thinking these guys are new to the scene.
Crosstail.
Yeah, Crosstail.
Yes, no prior modules. Actually, let's just for fun, let's click on their website and see what it actually shows. But
I mean, if they formed around building this project, by the sounds of it, then
yeah, I'd never heard of them before. And yet, actually, as of right now, their website is just a bunch of links. So Discord
takes them to their social.
YouTube.
Yeah, takes them to their social. Chat will no doubt tell me I am being an idiot and wrong, but I have.
How dare they?
They might be correct though, because I have this weird feeling that we used the Skyraider as an airborne early warning aircraft.
That sounds like the sort of nonsense that the British MOD
Yeah,
would
I know,
do.
right? Like, I think it was a naval. Like, we bought them, we used them in the Navy, and we stuck a big radar dome on the bottom of it. Because that profile, that side profile, I'm looking at and going, I've seen that in RN colors with a big dome underneath it, and I'm like, did we use these as an airborne early warning platform for the Navy? Which would be utterly
Well,
like,
we
of
did,
course we would.
we did have an aircraft that looked just like this, and I recall it having quite a bizarre setup on it. But
right, so Byron has said it was used as an AEW, and I also think there was some poor chap who got crammed into a tiny little hole in the tail to operate the radar stuff. It wasn't the pilot up in the top in his nice big bubble canopy. There was some poor schmuck stuck in a little tiny cramped cabin in the tail. Like, okay, I've got my radar scope.
dearie me. Oh dear.
Yeah. Because of course that's the kind of nonsense we would do.
Clint S. Ooh, napalm in DCS. When? Well, actually, the A4 community mod already has napalm. So we do have napalm.
Now is the answer.
Now is the answer. Just looking through chat quickly. Sea Fire and Sea Fury. It would be cool.
Fire, Sea Fury. Yeah.
It was used as AEW. Bloody hell.
I know.
I remember seeing pictures of these, and they were really bizarre-looking aircraft. And maybe I'm imagining things, but I have this bizarre memory that it folded in some really weird way to save space on the deck.
The
well.
wing. Yeah, it did. And like certainly for the image I've got in my head, like I should go off and Google, but we're in the middle of this. Like it was a weird conformal bulbous nonsense.
Yes.
Hanging underneath the
Oh, here we go. Actually, I found it. I found it, and yeah, it's pretty weird looking.
Yeah.
Like they basically they chopped the back of the cockpit canopy, and then they extended this long, what looks like a metal tube behind it.
Yeah,
it's hard to describe. Anyway, that's something to check out. The Douglas Skyraider AEW-1 is the aircraft we're referring to.
Yeah. That's because of course we would take a Skyraider and turn it into an AEW-1. The Gannet. No,
and of course later.
No, the Gannet. That's the one that I think had the couple of guys shoved into a really crap hole.
Okay, that could well be the case.
Yeah, but I know the Skyraider. Like now, people are saying, yeah, the Skyraider was also turned into an AEW platform because, of course, it would be.
And then later we were using Sea Kings.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and then
because at the time of the Falkland War, HMS Invincible had no AEW.
Yeah.
We were in between two programs, and at that time there was no AEW, and that's actually why some of the Argentinian aircraft with Exocets were able to sneak in, because there was no radar coverage.
That's right.
And so then they created a like, what do they call it again? Like a fast operational requirement or whatever it is, like a kind of, oh shit, we need this now.
Yeah.
And so they just bolted radars onto Sea Kings.
Yeah, it was, well, if I remember, it was like, it looked like a massive oil drum, like with a dome on the bottom hanging off the side. It was like weird as hell. And then they turned the Nimrod into an AEW aircraft as well, and it had a really weird bulbous nose and bulbous tail. It was
RAF, go home, you're drunk.
Pretty much.
Why is it that our AEW stuff is always like an afterthought?
Yeah. We've like had a history of it of it being a bit kind of like, I guess. Don't
they realize that we invented radar?
I know. Well, I think like, if I'm going to go on a guess, that the idea of sticking it in the air, like, probably like, because, you know, as you say, we invented it, and it's like, but we've got these things on the ground that do just as well, you know. And I guess because like sort of projection of air power wasn't really a thing for us because we were concentrating on the European theater. I suppose it just didn't occur. I mean, it was really the Americans that pioneered it, and we ended up buying Sentry. you know, as a result, and finally having a proper AEW, you know, platform. But there we go.
I'm just laughing at Ernov's chat there. I couldn't agree more. RAF likes to make planes that look like they were stung by bees.
Oh my god, it's so true.
It's so true.
We need a new sensor. Stick this ugly bulb onto some other aircraft. Yeah. Byron Farrow saying Nimrod AEW replaced the Shackleton, which is
yes.
Yeah, completely correct. And I remember seeing pictures of that Shackleton also looking like just like, who the hell designed this?
Yeah. Bizarre, like, you know, I only know from playing Command Modern Operations, but like weird things like the Sea King AEW actually quite effective because it can hover. Well, that's the thing; it's stationary, which is kind of nice.
Yeah,
and it can hover at quite high altitude for a really long time, and it has a good range.
Quite high, but it's still. I mean, you're sub. You know, I mean, you're sub 12,000 feet, so your OTH your OTH distance isn't going to be that much. So, you know, you can still have some pretty big horizon shadows, and you know, so it's not. I guess. You know, it's not going to have that kind of massive early warning. I mean, it's gonna. You know, it's going to give you some advance notice, better than the search radar on on the ships, but. Yeah, compared to something like having a sentry overhead, you know, it's...
yeah, but this is a different era, of course.
True.
I think for the time, it wasn't terrible.
Yeah, although, I mean, Hawkeye was around then, so... You know, Hawkeye was pretty good. You know, that kind of had some good capabilities. But anyway, we have gone right off the path.
Maybe I should go back to the newsletter.
Yeah,
that's where
maybe.
We should
be. Right.
So, continuing with the newsletter, Supercarrier development progress. We continue to work on the Pry-Fly deck and briefing room Supercarrier. The briefing room functionality that will allow mission planning information to be shared across tablets. The briefing officer will also be able to display details like the F10 map on the projector prior to mission time. How cool is that?
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. But
later, we will expand the briefing room art to include multiple squadrons.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, but let's face it, it's a bit of a gimmick. Like, I mean, the practical use of it's going to be a bit... I know. Like, it's cool. Don't get me wrong, it's totally cool, but it's a bit gimmicky. I'm like, I think unless you're seriously into role playing, you know, like, you know, doing your briefing over a full screen with the you know, what do they call it? Not Prezi, whiteboards.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Because, I mean, they're going to have to... I mean, like, unless they can integrate some kind of sort of dynamic whiteboard, it's going to be a bit like, well, actually, as a briefing tool, it's not very useful because, you know, you want to be able to, you know, you're going to have your pre-prepared, like... Well, do you know what? Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see what the feature set is. But,
and the thing is, we already, in the mission editor, we already have all the kind of map drawing tools already, so you could mark up the map prior quite nicely, I think. And then apparently, if you look at these tablets in front of each pilot, we have the ability to alter the loadout of our aircraft before getting to it during the briefing. I think that's pretty damn cool.
Do you know what I'd like to see, though, is like, I mean, this is like, don't get me wrong, this is very, very cool for the Supercarrier people, but, well, question one, is it only for people who have Supercarrier?
Yes.
Right. Okay, well, this is going to be useless then, because very few people have Supercarrier. And two, I'd love to see a briefing facility,
like a land-based one?
Like a land-based one. Yeah, like I'd like to see a PBF on, you know, a ground base as well. Like,
this is something I actually, I think it was while you were away. I already spoke about this. Sorry, excuse me. Dearie me, having a good cough. I was talking about this while you were away. If they add this to the SDK and make it possible for people to create other briefing rooms, I think that'd be super cool. Because I would like to see a land-based equivalent.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, don't get me wrong. This is awesome. I have Supercarrier. This is going to be great. Like, for a role-playing aspect, it's going to be fantastic. But, like, let's wait and see what the tools are available are, you know. and I think it should be opened up to.
Oh yeah.
You know,
yeah, we
people
should be
who
able to
aren't
create our
naval
own.
aviators.
Like, you know,
Yeah,
imagine
yeah.
Razbam making the same for the Tarawa, and HMS Invincible. Oh, I want HMS Invincible's briefing room. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, with the bar in the back.
Yes, exactly. Sipping G&T.
Yeah.
And here we go. Here's Air Boss. Notable in its absence is his beer gut. I'm sad to. I mourn the loss of Air Boss's beer gut. I thought that was actually quite cool. They've made him too slender now, but he does look he looks angry enough to be a real Air Boss. I like that. It's good stuff.
And I mean this. I think arguably this, sort of Pryfly and things like the Platcam probably have more use than something like this briefing area, because I mean I think these things deliver more actual sort of flight value, because if you're trying to do naval aviation properly, nailing that 3-wire and having like a a human LSO is definitely definitely going to give you some some benefit. But I don't know, like a poor tablet implementation where you can't change the slides that well or draw on it. It's like, but I mean, it's cool.
Mr. Yeti is suggesting we've moved up in the world. He watched our original episode from, must have been like 2015 or 2016. He says we both have nicer houses now.
yeah, we've done all right. Like,
moved up in the world, don't you know?
moved on. Business has done well. Yeah.
Yes. James Fenton asking, so this is where we fill out our DTC, maybe. That could be a feature in the future, although it's probably a little while before we get DTC. But that could be nice, actually, if you could pre-program things like your air-to-air default screens, air-to-ground default screens, countermeasures, etc., and then have them uploaded to the aircraft when you finish briefing.
Like for this to like work, you'd need to have, like, you can have the F10 map and all that kind of stuff. You'd need to be able to bring in icons, be able to draw on it, move stuff around, and you must be able to have those pre-prepared, so that you're not sitting there going, oh, excuse me, whilst I lay out, this site. You need to be able to have pre-prepared assets. You need to probably be able to import, PowerPoint or, open source equivalent of slides, so that you can have, basically so that you can have an op-ord, we ready.
Kind of already have this. The mission files can embed those little PNGs, and you can flip through them in the current briefing implementation. I wonder if they would just make us continue to use that.
It would need to be something like that. I mean, you'd need to basically be able to get your op-ord and bring it in and be able to talk through your op-ord and be able to have some kind of visual aids where you can move stuff around the map and kind of go, draw on it and all that kind of stuff. If you can do all that, and you can let the user go full screen, so it's not a little postage stamp in your, on a tablet on your screen, like, then this works. If it can't do any of that, then it's like, this is totally cool roleplay, and like, it's a bit of fun, but as a practical briefing tool, not really.
Zip it, Starbuck. Clint S saying, so combat flight. Yes, basically combat flight. And is Supercarrier more than simply a floating airport? Well, actually, I've got it. I think it's a really good module. To my mind, one of the best things about it are actually the deck crew. Like the fully animated and simulated deck crew. You can actually follow a lot of the realistic procedures that you would on the deck. And the thing is, Supercarrier is not even finished yet. So keep in mind that what we have today is not the full Supercarrier module. We are going to be getting various areas of the ship that we can occupy, and they're also going to be simulating the hangar and the elevators as well.
Yeah, nice. So yeah, just a couple of comments I'm pulling out. Mr. Yeti was asking, weren't Nimrod and Shackleton mainly ASW, not AEW? They were
They were
indeed
both.
mainly ASW, but there were variants that allowed that there was a variant of the Nimrod that was in AEW, and same with the Shackleton. So yeah, they were both. Tog saying, is it a module where I can actually say I'm on a boat? Yep, pretty much. Can players walk around the tower on the carrier? Well, that's kind of, I think, where where we're getting to with Pryfly and things like that. So, and being able to be the air boss. So.
Stiggy Wiggy, did I miss the chat about the great new Skyraider? Yes.
Yes, you did, unfortunately. And it was long and winding, and we totally went off topic. But yeah, we were excited. So.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, I gotta say, I think Air Boss looks very convincing.
Yeah,
I like that. I've been on the Air Boss station on the USS Hornet. So I've been right here. But it was, of course, USS Hornet is way earlier.
That is somewhere I really wanted to go. I've never managed it. Like, I've seen it a couple of times and gone, just not had time to go to it. And I really kind of want to.
It was the highlight of my trip to San Francisco. Didn't much care for San Francisco. Really liked the USS Hornet. So can recommend.
Yeah, like I think my final thought on the Air Boss and the briefing room is like, this is really cool, but yeah, I think like not many people own Supercarrier, and I think this should be part of the base game, really. Like I think we should have this on air bases. We should be able to go in at the tower on an air base and use tower facilities. And we should have a pilot's briefing facility available. I think this being only a thing for people who own Supercarrier, it's like, yeah, totally cool, value add, but it's one of these things that I feel it's like, yeah, do you know what, this should be a core feature. Yeah, but there we go.
Those monitors top of the Air Boss, do they work? What are they for IRL? I don't know if they currently work, but I know that they are intending that like the deck cameras will be simulated and will work. In this image, I can't tell if they're actually
I'm going to say
working.
they do. Because look over in the right, so the monitor, like, see where, like, if you go from his sunglasses and go right, doesn't that look like the coastline of Georgia? Yeah.
Oh, here, yes, yes, it does. And then we've got what looks like a list of, I guess these are landings. So maybe this is like a representation of the greenie board. I don't know. And then these are clearly
they look like the
camera
camera stuff, like the monitors lower down look suspiciously in engine. So
yeah. I wonder if we get repeat from the
so
plat cam
I reckon they do work. Like I'm gonna be, like pretty positive and say that I think we're gonna get that kind of functionality.
What I really want is like kind of what we were describing. There should be various different kinds of briefing room. I want the Eastern briefing room represented. So like if I'm flying in SU-27, I want to be sitting in like a prefab concrete building where like the different floor tiles don't quite line up and there's like
chair
bits to trip on. Like a really shitty plastic chair, a broken window taped up. The proper Eastern Bloc
somebody
experience.
sitting depressingly smoking in a corner and talking about the old days.
Yep. Yeah, a container of something suspicious leaking in the corner. You got to have it all. You got to have
Absolutely.
it all. Yeah. Morzo, maybe at some point we'll get brown shirt plane captains working with you during startups. They have said that they're going to extend the deck crew. They haven't really specified what we're going to get, but we're apparently going to get more. And one of the things they did say was they wanted, like right now we have the full experience of interacting with the crew at the catapult. But they've said that they want to work more on the crew that would be with you at your parking space, and then what would happen as you taxi to the catapult and so on. So there is more to come there, but I don't exactly know.
Channel Right saying yes, many of the Supercarrier features should be implemented into the airfields. Yeah, totally. And actually, do you know, I'd be happy paying for it as a module. Like if we got like the airfield equivalent of Supercarrier, where you got things like functioning air traffic control tower, with its radars. You got pilots briefing facilities. You got hangars that had ground crew that interacted with you. Like that would be awesome. Like like all this stuff that's going into Supercarrier. It needs to come to airfields. And like, I know that doesn't just happen by magic. So yeah, I'd probably be happy to pay for it as a module, because God knows that's how anything gets done in this game. So
or in life in general. Mitch, don't give them any ideas.
It's fine. All your Mavericks are going to be NFTs, and you're gonna have to buy WAG coin to pay for reloads and.
WAG coin.
It's the future, tell you.
Oh dear. I hope they add more of the steam onto the decks from the launchers, says Stephen Wee.
Yeah, there is. It's a bit weedy though.
Steam.
Like I'm sure all the sort of footage I've seen is that there's quite a lot of steam coming off those catapults, but
It is a nice detail though. Like when I'm sitting in the cockpit, I can tell when the catapult has just gone live.
It's cool.
It starts just steaming. Yeah, nice. Okay, I'm going to jump back to the newsletter now, and we have another DCS World update. AI BFM development progress. This is something they've been talking about for a little bit. We already got some of it.
And it's
I believe.
It's not bad. I mean, it definitely the old AI. When you got to the merge, it was kind of really dumb. But the one that they updated, it did get to the point where the AI would be like trying to go into a 1 circle or 2 circle fight and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, there was improvements. So good that there's more coming.
Yep, there's even more coming. So let's talk about this one. Basic flight maneuvers noteworthy features. Based on performance characteristics, each aircraft type will favor either 1 circle nose to nose or 2 circle nose to tail fights, or a combination of the two. This will result in dramatically different tactics based on the type. Flying against a Viper will be very different from fighting a Hornet, for instance. When performing a merge, the AI will aim to dictate turning room based on the opposing aircraft's type, aspect angle, and energy state, meaning a 1 circle fighter will try to minimize turning room, whereas a 2 circle fighter will try to create an offset to allow a lead turn across the tail. Particularly in a 2 circle fight, the AI is much better at maintaining optimal sustained turn rate and will adjust nose position below and above the horizon to maximize turn rate or convert energy into altitude with excess energy. The AI skill level setting will determine how much G the AI will generate. At ace level, the AI is excellent at managing airspeed for optimal performance. Based on how the fight develops, the AI may switch between 1 circle and 2 circle according to merge angle and relative airspeed. This provides a much more dynamic opponent. Please note that World War II aircraft often use a different BFM toolbox, and we will develop a unique set of BFM improvements for these aircraft. In addition to multi-ship air combat maneuvering, ACM, behavior for all aircraft later. Thank you again for your passion and support. Sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
Simro saying, let's pray the AI never learned the Top Gun trick with 1 engine, lol.
What was my thought? Yeah, more development of core features, which is what we've been screaming about for pretty much the last 2 years. So,
yes.
Good to see this stuff coming in. Yeah, that's positive that we're seeing that.
And they have, like, I think in BFM and also in kind of BVR, there have already been a bunch of tweaks. So like what they're talking about here is a further development, because we have already had quite a few cool improvements to the AI. Like they're already acting way more intelligently than they have in the past.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. Mitch saying, but 3 years ago they said a new game engine was coming.
And it
Didn't
did.
we get
That was Edge.
And it did. Yeah, that was Edge.
Yeah.
Extremely delayed graphics engine.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I think new game engine is probably a bit of a stretch. It was really more of an overhaul of the graphics engine.
Yeah. I mean, it needs a new engine. That like, I mean, the way it works, it's archaic. You know, it's the way the core fundamental sort of method that its programming uses is like 90s kind of, basically. You know, like,
and I think that's part of the reason why it's been so difficult for them to try to implement multi-core in Vulkan.
Yeah, because you're trying to bolt onto a kind of effectively a late 90s, early 2000s architecture in terms of how the software is designed. I think, like, I reckon they need to nuke it at some point and start again, because I think they've basically got spaghetti code at the moment. You know, there's so many hooks and darns and all sorts of things.
Do you remember when the main menu and the simulation were two separate exes?
I do.
And
it
used to shut down one and boot up the other.
Yeah. Then it was a big deal when it became a unified launcher.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I do remember that. Yeah. But yeah, core functionality. That's we've been screaming about it for basically since day one of starting this news.
And to be fair, I get the feeling that is now their focus, given that they're.
I think so too.
Yeah, they're moving away from the module development.
Yeah, I mean, they're not stupid. They're not stupid. They know you know that they know that in order to keep things going, they've got to progress the core of what DCS is, which is why I think the third party program is this one of the smartest ideas they've had, because they need to leverage them to generate income so that they can concentrate on keeping the core up to date and modern and relevant. Because yeah. I mean, like at the moment they have a monopoly. They have a monopoly. There's nobody else in the space doing modern air combat. Now we're very fortunate that they do it well, and that, you know, I mean, yes, I complain a lot, but I mean, I do recognize that I'm picking nits.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, the thing is that I can recognize where there are flaws. And they're not stupid. They know that. They know that even though they have a monopoly, that only goes so far. And if they rest on their laurels and just let, you know, things deteriorate until it falls apart, people are just going to wander off and disappear and go elsewhere, even though they're the only player in town. So they're not stupid. They know it. And so they're working on the core. And, you know, we'll see. I think we will see these things. I think eventually we will see these features. It just takes a very, very long time.
Yes. Pink Floyd, how do you guys feel about planes being hyped that are several years from release?
That's an interesting question.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's needed. Sadly. Because
they need to generate interest for these modules so that they can then sell them.
Yeah, it's like, what we have to remember is that we're like a super niche hobby. You know, we're like a super niche hobby. Like and like to keep in business, like, I think, you know, like, I mean, you know, these module developers, they're not Daddy Warbucks, you know, counting their money. I don't think people make a lot of money from a module. Like, I mean, I know that even some developers who have a module out, it's not their day job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They still have a job that they go and do to make actual money so they can eat and keep a roof over their head. So I think that long hype train is required because it needs people have like this ridiculous short attention span. The money needs to come in. Who are you? What? Where are we? So I think the money needs to come in, and
yes, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I think if I'm buying like a game on Steam, like pre-order and all that kind of stuff, like, unless there's an incentive to pre-order, I tend to not do it. Usually there's an incentive and it's like, oh, well, I'm getting some money off, so I'll pre-order it,
Yeah.
But if there's no incentive to pre-order, like if the price isn't going to change on the day of release, I tend to not do it for digital products. DCS is the exception.
Yeah.
Because I know that a lot of these module developers are not making the huge bucks because we are a super niche audience. So, there we go.
I kind of agree. Like, my point of view is mostly aligned with yours there. Number one, like, take something like the Eurofighter Typhoon. That's not coming out for a while yet. But Heatblur makes such good trailers. In fact, after this stream, I'll probably go and watch it again. But that's a fantastic thing. It generates hype for the module, and it means that people will talk. You can't underestimate the power of people talking to other people about something that they saw and were captivated by. So, of course, like when I first saw the Typhoon trailer, I went around and told everybody that I know who has any kind of an interest in aviation. And so, whatever you pay to make that marketing, it's paying for itself because it's generating a lot of word of mouth. So yeah, I think it's fine. And hey, it gives me and dotChuckles something to talk about during these streams, and it's a bit of fun for the community. Like, I know some people are like, oh no, don't tell me until you're about to release it. But I think you're underestimating, number one, the power of marketing, and number two, the fun having a buzz in the community. Creates.
Yeah. And again, when that community is quite niche, I think it's there. Clint S saying, that said, Mudhen hype for a decade. Yeah, there's limits, and you're not wrong. Yeah, there are limits. Although
that's coming now. That's not going to be that much
longer. It's finally coming.
Yeah,
I know. But I think dropping an announcement 18 months, maybe 2 years at the most out from your proposed release date. Like, I think, I'm all right with that for our particular hobby. Like, I think like it may not fly elsewhere, that are perhaps less niche, and that the hype isn't quite required, because there's big bankrolls going on behind the projects. But I think for us that is aren't funded by massive publishers with deep pockets, I think I think it's all right.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Yep, cool.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So yeah, I guess that's
says Sticky Wiggy saying, never tell someone not to pre-order something. It's their choice, not yours. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I agree. If somebody wants to pre-order something, that's their choice. I'm talking from a a personal point of view that, unless it's there's an incentive for me, I tend to not do it because a few reasons. But like I say, I make an exception in DCS because I understand that's where the money comes from for the development.
yeah, absolutely. Actually, there was one thing I was going to bring up before we finish off, kind of round off the news. It wasn't that long ago we had the statement from Matt Wagner that there were 4 more aircraft to be announced, and this was after, I believe, the C-130. So I guess the A-1H Skyraider is our first of the 4. So we have 3 more coming. So just in the interest of a bit of fun, what does chat think the next 3 are gonna be? I don't have the faintest idea, by the way. But yeah, what might be the next 3 aircraft we get announced? I'm guessing at least one of them is going to be a World War II aircraft, and we're gonna snooze.
And I'm gonna say the Intruder, because the Intruder hasn't been officially announced.
Yeah, Heatblur have always said they're gonna do it, but yeah, you're right. It's never been like announced.
Yeah, but it's been like, oh, we're doing an AI one, and then we're gonna do the that. But it's been like there hasn't been a kind of like, yeah, so we're officially doing it. Here's your trailer. They did it for the AI version, but they've not done it for for a playable one. So I reckon that's going to be one of them.
Isn't that quite a lot though? Because they're still finishing the F-14. They're working on Typhoon. They're working on.
I think they've expanded. F4. Yeah, but I think they've expanded like quite a bit. Like I think people are like actually like they're like like while I did say earlier on, there are some people who don't have who don't do this as a day job. Like Heatblur are the exception.
yeah.
Like they made bank on the F-14. So,
welcome to the ground crew, Mangash. Welcome to Deepak's ground crew. Thank you very much for joining.
Now get a spanner and start adjusting his nuts.
please no.
Okay, where are we?
A lot of good suggestions coming in.
F4U. Yeah. I'm gonna actually say that's pretty likely. P-38. Ooh, that would be cool.
Would be cool.
A29.
And I'm so disinterested in World War II aircraft, but P-38. Yeah.
0.
That has to be coming, surely.
It has to come at some point. Yeah. Tornado. Yeah.
Paul Dillon, a hunter. I strongly.
That would be.
Yeah.
I'd love a hunter.
There's no way I don't like. No one apart from British people are going to give a shit. But a hunter would be really, really cool.
Yeah, but then we're getting the Lightning. So we're getting the Lightning, and again, like nobody but us Brits will give a shit about Lightning.
but I think we can make an exception for the Lightning though, because the Lightning is still an incredible aircraft. Like it's kind of
historically important, but then again, so was the Hunter. Like for its time, the Hunter was,
I guess,
like, yeah.
It's like I feel like the Lightning is the last of that era of aircraft where like the only design consideration was must go fast.
Yeah. Clint S. The one I'm gonna pull out here is MiG-29. I think that's a possibility. Stieglitz, MiG-23. Yeah, I think that's also a possibility.
That'd be nice. The MiG-29 effectively has already been announced, really, because they've been talking about it from time to time in the newsletter.
Yeah, but again, it hasn't had that sort of
the trailer or anything.
Like, I mean, what does he mean by announce? Like, is he talking about like that first in the forum? So yeah, we're working on this. Or is he talking about things that we know are coming, but it gets an official announcement and trailer? Like where's the definition on that?
Yeah, I don't know. But let's think about the ones we've had most recently. C-130, we had no idea. A-1H, we had no idea.
Well, no, we did. We had an idea about the C-130 coming out.
It was just like whispers.
No, yeah, I know, but mate, we were talking about the C-130 like being, that's probably going to be a module 6 months ago. Like,
yes, yeah. That's just because we're really smart. That's not like nothing had really been spoken
for
about.
Yourself. Yeah. Fair FM B-17. Good God, I'd love a B-17. Like one of my, and I'm not a fan of World War II stuff, but B-17 would be cool because one of my favorite games from Microprose was the B-17, the first one, and which you can get on Steam, and as well as the sequel, the Mighty Eighth. Nice. Piss off Navigraph. Sorry, I'm getting moaned at by Navigraph. So yeah, I'd love a B-17. English Electric Lightning. Again, has that been announced? Because like we've seen stuff, but it's like again, it's like what is Wags's definition of an announcement? So
very true. Very true.
Mitch saying, and I've just lost it. They should release planes in pairs to always have a foe. I kind of like that idea. Yeah,
Yeah,
kind of like that idea.
ideally, yes. However, with third-party developers, no one's really collaborating or, organizing this kind of stuff with each other, so it's very unlikely to happen.
Yeah. Would be nice to have a high fidelity growler. Yes, you're absolutely right. It would be.
But that's not going to happen.
No, the reason why I'm giggling is because I'm Scottish, and growler is a euphemism for a lady's private princess parts.
Yes, indeed.
So yes, I'd enjoy a high definition growler. Yeah, it would be good, but
has no application in the sim right now, sadly.
No, it's not just that. I think it's just like it's still there's aspects of it that are way classified. So
yeah. And again, 2-seater. So like it's kind of a niche aircraft, and it takes 2 of you to fly it. So that's not ideal.
Yeah, and like I think ED has kind of gone on record that they're not going to do anything themselves that like has more than 2 seats. And I think for a growler, it would need to come from them, because of the new elements that it would introduce to the SDK. So, yeah. Chinese flanker. What's that? That's the
J10.
J10. Yeah.
Or wait, no, J11. I'm getting mixed up. J11.
Have we not got that?
We've got that. Deca Ironworks released it for free. It's part of the Chinese asset pack, and it's flyable. The thing is,
it's not clicky. It's not a
no. It's FC3.
Okay. So it's an FC3. All right. Yeah. So fair enough. Yeah. Like we won't get that. We won't get that.
The J11 is really cool. It's a nice aircraft, because they've basically taken an Su-27 and kind of upgraded it to something like Su-30 standards. It's quite a nice aircraft. AH1, says Tog. Now you're talking.
AH1, yeah, Cobra.
Yeah, I'd take a Cobra.
Ooh, and actually, like, I'm sure I've heard whispers about that. I've heard whispers, because
over the years people have talked about a Cobra, but there's never been anything firm.
Well, we've got a Huey, which is a Cobra with a different body.
Kind of,
technically, kind of.
And Cobra is kind of a funny one, because like Cobra could be anything from like Vietnam era all the way to present day, because it's been upgraded so many times.
Yeah, it's God, it's had a long service.
Yeah.
British modern plane along with the British asset pack. Yes, please. Yeah.
More Land Rovers.
Yeah.
What about the Jaguar, says Stiggy Wiggy? Yes. Oh, yes.
Jaguar, yeah, God, that would be awesome. Where are we?
Wouldn't mind a J.
Jag. Okay, I'm Team Growler now. Gloucester Meteor, very niche but cool, being the first operational fighter. I want to say, yeah.
James Rubo, our virtual air wing just started a Cobra squadron. I wonder if he's hinting at a possible community mod.
Oh, okay, cool.
Or maybe he's just playing us.
The Draken teased?
Actually, yes.
I think it was.
It was. They were talking about an AI Draken. So it wasn't. My understanding is it wasn't going to be flyable. But of course, a Draken would be cool.
Yeah. Jaguar, Jag would be cool. One of my favorite aircraft, actually.
Yeah, me too. I really like the Jaguar.
And I mean, its development is bonkers as well, because it was originally supposed to be a trainer. It was supposed to be high-speed training aircraft, and it then became like a really, really quite potent ground attack aircraft. No, a Cobra. That would be that would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Yeah, James Rubo, we made the T-45 mod, so I wouldn't be surprised if they've heard whispers in the... This is... You heard it here first, chat.
That's interesting. Also testing the Corsair on the boat. Cool.
Top secret, he says. after
Top
having
secret.
told
on a
everyone.
live having told the world on a live stream that is publicly available. That's super interesting. Yeah, we're breaking some serious news here. Cool.
I'll never talk.
Yeah, we'll never mention on the internet that we're speculating that there's a Cobra coming.
Yes. I wonder. Okay, we could probably do this all night, so maybe we should draw this to an end. And I wonder if perhaps now is the time when we should, as always, pimp the VAF. dotChuckles.
Pimp the VAF. I need a pimp cup and a big hat.
Yes, indeed. So yes, the Virtual Air Force, the VAF. It's a online squadron started by myself and dotChuckles. We have an opt-in milsim style approach where you can join the squadron as a freelancer with no mandatory training and fly whatever you want, whenever you want with us. Alternatively, you can join one of the numbered squadrons inside the squadron, which currently have an A-10 squadron, an F-14 squadron, F-16, F-18, Harrier, and Apache. All of which are recruiting just now. And if you join one of those numbered squadrons, we'll provide you with training. We do training sessions every week, Tuesdays at 8 p.m. UK time. And we do mission nights every Thursday, again, 8 p.m. UK time, with lots of flying in between times. Check the show notes below for a link to our Discord. And you're very welcome to come and join, even if you're not going to fly with us. It's nice just to hang out and shoot the breeze. That's yeah, that's absolutely fine. Real good. Oh dear, Byron. Hopefully the VAF will have me back, even though I haven't been able to fly for about 2 months. Absolutely, sir. The VAF will very much have you back. DCS AWACS.
Yeah, we recognize that real life happens. So, we don't sort of have a, oh, you've not been around for ages, you get booted kind of dealio. I mean, obviously, if you're in a numbered squadron, you might have to take a check ride or something just to see where your skills are at after being away. But, that's easily arranged. But yeah, we know that life happens.
Yes. Mr. Yeti, did you set up the VAF after you did the podcast episode 1? Also, what happened to the very sexy red sofa? Sadly, that red sofa was never mine. That was a rental apartment, and it belonged to the landlord. So that wasn't mine. It was a very nice couch, however. It was a sofa bed. I think we formed the VAF before that podcast. But
yeah.
But it depends what you consider forming the VAF, because when we first formed the VAF, it was like a private thing. It was just me and dotChuckles and like 3 other guys. So it was very, very small. And we had there was no forum, there was no Discord, it wasn't public. Like, you could only fly with us if you knew us, basically. And it was later that we properly launched it. So the VAF has been around for a very long time.
Yeah, and it was we decided to do the podcast. It was like a bit of an experiment to kind of see could we do a video podcast, and I'm not sure why we didn't go back to it for a while. I think we talked about it a good few times, and then
I think neither of us was ready.
Yeah, like I think that's right. Like I think we weren't quite ready for it. And like I think like I don't know if like we had our format, because like I mean this is the DCS news and we do cover the news, but like a lot of what we do here is kind of commentary and nonsense and history and just talking about things that kind of interest us in relation to what the things that have happened in DCS. So it kind of like one of the things that we talked about as being a I guess I don't know if inspiration is the right word, but the news bits on Top Gear.
Oh yeah. If we had like a mood room for deciding how we were going to do it, then yes, Top Gear would be in it. For sure. Hammond!
like the news bits on Top Gear where it just sort of rambles into chaos and bad opinions.
Yes.
Like, we should have a cool wall or something.
I guess, yeah.
The tornado should be right up, right in the fridge, you know.
Clint S. Was the VAF conceived on the sofa? No.
No. No.
We just really wanted to fly together.
It was like 4 or 5 of us, and we just like like we did have like some quite big ideas that like originally the idea of the VAF was to be formed around the L-39.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
L-39C being our main aircraft, and you created a really lovely livery for it, which was based on RAF training colours.
Yeah, with the VAF roundel,
which we still have. We still use that.
Yeah, it's still there. Yeah. And the idea was that the VAF was going to be based around the L-39, and that we were going to do sort of proper ab initio flight training in the L-39 with instructor in the back, student in the front.
Yeah.
But then sort of reality kind of...
It would have been a huge undertaking.
Yeah, he's just, you know... Yeah.
But yeah, it was good. It's been a good ride, and I'm really, really happy about where VAF is now. So if you want to join us on that continuing journey, then please jump into the Discord. It's in the show notes below. I also want to give a little shout out to Deep Hack's ground crew. A couple of weeks ago, I turned on YouTube memberships on the channel. It's an extra way that you can support the channel, and a number of people already have. So I want to say thank you very much to those people who are members of the Deep Hack's ground crew. And I also want to, as always, ask if people could subscribe, like, and comment. That's also a huge help to the channel, and I'm really, really happy with the way things have been developing. We seem to have more people watching, more chat engagement every week, so it's fantastic. Thank you very much to everybody who participates.
Yeah, I kind of want to call out chat because like the biggest fun that I have doing this is interacting with you lot in chat, and you know, I mean, I recognize I'm an opinionated grumpy sod, and having chat call me out on it's good fun.
You're all wonderful.
You'll have it. Like, I wish I had chat in real life, like all the time.
Yes.
Because you guys always have the answer to things. Like, you know, I just like sometimes I wish when I'm working away and I'm like, oh, how do I do that? Chat, how do I do that? You know?
Yes.
I just wish I had that in real life every day.
Crowdsource all your questions.
Yeah, I know, it's great. Like, can you just be around so I can like ask you stuff when I'm like, I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. Chat, what's going on?
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, thank you very much for participating, chat. It's the biggest.
Yeah.
It makes this work. It makes it fun.
Yep, exactly.
So I guess that really just leaves me to say that he's been dotChuckles. I've been Deep Hack. I try to post a tutorial video every Saturday at let me think, 6:30 p.m. UK time, and that's usually followed by the DCS news. What you're watching right now. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching, and fly safe. And we'll see you all next time. Ta-ta.